If you're in search of some super advanced clickbaity YouTube video, you should probably leave now because that's not what this is going to be. But if you're actually looking to improve the quality of your productions, I suggest you stick around. I'm going to go over 5 tips that a beginner would roll their eyes at. They would think, oh, this is boring. This isn't cool. It's natural to overlook the boring tips. We want sexy, we want advanced. But let's ask ourselves, what does it mean to be advanced at production? If you really want to break it down, those who are advanced are just really damn good at the fundamentals. And that's what I want to do with this video. I want to go over 5 fundamental tips that you can apply today to better yourself now and in the future, so hopefully you can get some real results too. Let's address the elephant in the room before we get started. Why should you even give me 5 minutes of your time? My name is Zach. I've been teaching music production at Cosmic Academy for about 10 years now, and the students I've worked with have gone from never signing a record to literally signing to some of the biggest labels in the industry like Toolroom, Anjuna, Spinnin, Armada. They've also gone on to play the biggest festivals. Just this past year, we had 3 students play EDC. We get actual real results from the methods that we teach. So in this video, if you think I'm here to give you the secret,
hell no, you have to join Cosmic Academy.
I'm only kidding. I actually do want to take a page though from how we approach teaching in Cosmic Academy. We go over real topics that actually move the needle, that provide real results. Let's first start off with less is more and calming your expectations as a producer. You can't expect to make a project like this sound good if you can't even make a project like this sound good. A lot of times we get enamored with the number of channels, the number of tracks we have in our song, and we always think the more tracks you have, the better you are and the better that song is, right? I don't know, maybe the song is better, but I'm gonna tell you this, it's gonna be way harder to execute and get that song sounding great with the more channels and the more tracks you have. Let me give you a really good example of this outside of music. Imagine if you had a move and you had this box, a medium-sized box to pack 50 things. Could you do it? Yes, but you would need to pack them in the perfect way so that all 50 things aren't wasting any space and they perfectly fit together. Now, your song is actually the same thing. You have a finite amount of space in your mix. The more sounds you have eating up that space and that volume, the harder it's going to be to pack that box. You're gonna have to be really damn good at sound selection and mixing to pull that off. If you're somewhat of a beginner, odds are you're not there yet. It's much easier to fit 20 items into that box than let's say 100. For the second tip, I wanna take a look at the production pyramid. If you notice, there are 5 distinct stages. We have the songwriting, the arrangement, the production, the mix, and the master. However, I want you to take notice as to the order in which this pyramid is built. The most important parts are at the bottom of the pyramid because they heavily impact the pieces that stack above it. So what does this mean? Mastering is very important, but mastering will only make a difference if you have great songwriting, structured out in a nice arrangement, produced with the right sounds, mixed well. Now your master will actually have an impact and make a difference on this track. But imagine the opposite scenario. You have a dog shit song that's arranged poorly with all the wrong sounds, which can't be mixed. What's the master gonna do for you? Your master will only be better if those previous 4 stages are better. Focus on the foundation and don't get ahead of yourself. The third tip is going to be quantity over quality. If you're still a beginner, or truthfully, you've been doing it for some time, but you can be real with yourself and say, hey, my productions don't sound that great. If you were able to control the quality of your song every single time, you would have already been producing amazing music every single time. Shit, I'd be doing that too. I think everyone would. But we really don't have that much control over quality. It's why we don't write hits every single time. Now, the easiest way to get better and to gain quality is by doing the damn thing. The more you do it, the better you get because it's experience. Imagine if you were gonna run a race like a marathon. It's 20-something miles. Would you only train and run 3 miles, expect to show up on race day and finish that race with a great time? Hell no. What about the other 20 miles you didn't train for? When race day comes, you're gonna have no understanding of what you need to do to get through the remainder of that race that you didn't practice, that you didn't train for. Music is no different. If you don't practice everything that we just spoke about in that pyramid, writing, arrangement, production, mix, master, how could you expect to be good at this if you're not consistently taking songs to completion? Focus on finishing music. Quantity here will get you better at all of the little things that go into making music. Then, when you do get better at finishing music, you're gonna start to notice the quality improves. At that point, I think you can be a little more nitpicky with which songs you choose to actually pursue and finish because it's no longer an issue and your skills have finally caught up. Now, the fourth tip, which has probably had the biggest impact on 500 plus of our students, is liking this video that you're watching right now. They've all done it. They've seen success because they liked this video. You might as well do the same thing. But as a thank you for liking this video, I'll give you a bonus tip for it, and that's going to be creating focus in your mix through volume. Quality is not luck. You're not going to luck into a quality mix. A lot of times when your mix isn't sounding great, it's because it is a lack of focus, meaning you have all these instruments firing off at the same time, roughly at the same volume, and the listener's ear has a hard time picking out what should I be paying attention to. Your job is to guide the listener from start to finish. They want their hand held, and this isn't luck. You're going to create focus first and foremost with volume. This is way easier than it needs to be. Our ear will always be drawn to what's loudest. If something is important in your mix, it has to be louder than everything else. So if you have secondary bullshit layers that are too loud in your mix, we start paying attention to those, and that's when the focus of the mix kind of falls off because we're paying attention to shit that we probably shouldn't be paying attention to. And maybe your main vocal or your main lead is even quieter and we don't notice it. We don't hear it. Remember, your most important sound should be louder. The secondary quieter sounds should be behind. The fifth and final tip I want to give you that has made a huge impact on the Cosmic Academy students is learning the fundamentals and learning your tools. This is probably the most boring of all 5 tips, but it may have the biggest impact. The better you can get at volume, EQ, compression, and spatial mixing, the better your songs and mixes will sound. It is that easy. But there are levels to this shit. If you just watched one EQ tutorial or you've played around with EQ for a month and you think you're an expert at it, you couldn't be further off. I like to always compare this to a hammer and nails. Imagine if 10 people are handed the same hammer, the same nails, the same pile of wood, and they're told to go build something. You'd have 10 different structures, and the best one would be whoever is best with those basic tools, a hammer and nails. Now let's run this experiment again, but we're going to give the first place person a rusty hammer and nails, and the last place person a gold hammer with platinum nails. Will that change anything? Of course not. It comes down to the person using those tools. You could have the coolest plugins in the world, the dopest synths. If you don't understand how to control them fundamentally in as many ways as possible, it just doesn't matter. The tool is not going to make or break you. You are in control of that tool, and your decisions ultimately make or break your mix. Become a master of these fundamentals, and that is how you become advanced. I hope these 5 boring tips helped you, and if you're still sitting here rolling your eyes, I'd suggest watching this video one more time. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.